2 minutes or something like that. So in the meantime, if you would like to say salam, and where you're tuning in from, we can have a little chat. You can do some chatting before we get started. So salams, where you're from, how are you doing? Zahra in Pakistan, wa alaikum assalam. Himu, wa alaikum assalam. Sara, yay, wa alaikum assalam. Lubna, alaikum assalam in Toronto. Zahra, I am good, jazakallah khairan. Trisha in Philly, wa alaikum assalam, always on Trisha, are you in Twitter, Periscope? Sarah's in Texas. Lubna's having iftar. Shayma, alaikum assalam, Shayma. Alhamdulillah. كيف الحال؟ عساك بخير. Mayan in the UK, wa alaikum assalam. Farhad in Middlebury, wa alaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah, Eid was good. Jazakallah khairan. Rahma in Texas. Wa alaikum assalam. We'll get started in like 1 minute. 1 minute. Lubna says Instagram didn't work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sagal, wa alaikum assalam. Rahila in Dubai. Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you, Zahra. All right, let's get started. Let's do this. Rubina, alaikum assalam. All right. 1 moment, please. Thanks, Lubna, for trying on the Instagram. I work hard to make that Instagram work, and it doesn't work, and it's like I work double hard, especially for the Instagram, but what can you do? All right, take one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi man wala. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I think I already said that. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about listening to the oppressed. Listening to the oppressed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, this is in Surah An-Nisa, verse 4, Surah number 4, ayah number 75. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, وَمَا لَكُمْ لَا تُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ والمستضعفين من الرجال والنساء والولدان الذين يقولون ربنا أخرجنا من هذه القرية الظالم أهلها واجعل لنا من لدنك وليا واجعل لنا من لدنك نصيرا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this verse, and in the words that really kind of like want you to focus on and highlight and let it sink in, is the first part of this verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا لَكُمْ, and what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the translation tafsir, and what's wrong with you that you fight not in the cause of Allah, and for those weak, ill-treated, and oppressed among men, women, and children whose cry is, our Lord, Rabbana, akhrijna min hadhihi al-qaryah, our Lord, rescue us from this town whose people are oppressors. Their cry is, what they're calling upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rabbana, our Lord, akhrijna min hadhihi al-qaryati al-zalimi ahluha. Rescue us from this town whose people are oppressors. Waj'al lana min ladunka waliya. And send for us and raise from you one who will protect. Waj'al lana min ladunka nasira. And raise for us from you one who will help us. And so right off the bat, we see here that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that these are al-mustada'afin, the people who are oppressed and ill-treated in the land, men, women, children. And they're calling upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they need a hero. They need somebody who will, that will protect them, and they need somebody who will help them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about these people and about helping them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا لَكُمْ, and what's wrong with you that you don't help? And so today, inshallah ta'ala, I wanted to talk about this, listening to the oppressed, and the benefit actually that, the duty that we have to listen to the oppressed, number one. And the second thing is the benefit that comes back to us and the protection. So when the Prophet ﷺ received revelation, and when he received revelation and Jibreel ﷺ came to him, and he came down off the mountain, and he came to Khadija radiallahu anha, and he was so afraid and he was shaking, and he said, Zammiluni, Zammiluni, cover me up, cover me up. And Khadija radiallahu anha, he spoke to her and he said, Laqad khashitu ala nafsi. He said, I feared for my life. And then Khadija radiallahu anha said to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Kalla abshir, that no, but rather receive glad tidings. لا يخزيك الله أبدا فوالله لا يخزيك الله أبدا, for by Allah, Allah will never disgrace you. And this, I want you to pay attention. I'm sure you've heard this before, but let me make a connection here. So she said, Allah will never disgrace you because you keep good relations with your kith and kin, you tell the truth, you help the poor, you help the destitute, you serve guests generously, and you always help with those afflicted by calamity. You always help with those afflicted by calamity. And then but if you tie this back to what she said in the beginning, she said, Allah will never disgrace you because these are your qualities. And if you kind of flip it backwards, that if these aren't our qualities, and this is the Prophet ﷺ, he just received revelation, but this was always his character, ﷺ. Just like when he stood on the mountain and told the people, if I told you an army was behind this mountain, would you believe me? And they said, we've never experienced a lie from you. The Prophet ﷺ didn't start telling the truth when revelation came down. He always told the truth, ﷺ, and it was always his nature, ﷺ, before receiving the revelation and after, an encouragement for the ummah that he would always help the oppressed and always help those afflicted by calamity. And because of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would never disgrace somebody who does that. The next thing I want to remind you guys of is the situation with Mu'adh radiallahu anhu. So Mu'adh radiallahu anhu is a very famous hadith that when Mu'adh was sent to Yemen to give da'wah in Yemen and call the people to Islam, and if they accepted Islam, and then you would teach them about Salah, you teach them about Zakah, and the Prophet ﷺ kept telling him, when they accept this, tell them this. When they accept this, tell them that. And then the Prophet ﷺ told them, and when they accept that, then take the Zakah and take it from the wealthy amongst them and pass it back to the poor amongst them. So the Zakah didn't leave Yemen. It actually went from the rich amongst the people of Yemen, time of the Prophet ﷺ, and went back to the poor of the Yemen. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, watch out for kara'ima amwalihim, which is, when taking the Zakah, don't be unjust to the people, don't oppress the people. And then the Prophet ﷺ, you have to understand, this is, 1400 years ago, the Prophet ﷺ said to Mu'adh, this is Mu'adh, and he said, وَاتَّقِي دَعْوَةَ الْمَظْلُومِ. And taqwa is to protect yourself. If you've heard those explanations of what taqwa is like going through a thorny a thorny forest and grabbing your garment so it doesn't get pinched and ripped by the thorns, they said that's taqwa. And so the Prophet ﷺ said, وَاتَّقِي دَعْوَةَ الْمَظْلُومِ, and protect yourself from the dua, the supplication, the supplication of the oppressed person. And وَاتَّقِي دَعْوَةَ الْمَظْلُومِ فَإِنَّهُ لَيْسَ بَيْنَهَا وَبَيْنَ اللَّهِ حِجَابٌ, because that dua of the oppressed person has no barrier, has no hijab between it and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so this is Mu'adh radiallahu anhu, and the Prophet ﷺ says, don't oppress anybody. And if you know, like with the Khulafa and Umar radiallahu anhu, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, they kept emphasizing this, that nobody is to be oppressed. Nobody is to be oppressed. Nobody is to be oppressed, because if somebody is oppressed and that dua goes straight to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and it comes down in harm against that person. And I remind you again of that first thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا لَكُمْ, what's wrong with you that you don't assist in this. I just wanted to bring up this reminder as you see and hear about oppressed people. I want you to, I want to encourage to listen and support. To listen and support, because that's what's required of us in our deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never disgrace you if that becomes your attitude, and you will be protected from the harm of the dua of the oppressed. May Allah SWT make us from those who always assist, just like the Prophet ﷺ always assisted. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.